This is Toronto. It is my home and I love it. We have all sorts of things. We've got the CN Tower, Drake, the Toronto International Film Festival, diversity, more on that later. But when it comes to food, we don't have a thing at all. I mean, New York, they've got pizza. In Chicago, well, they've got pizza. Paris has crepes, Tokyo is the home of ramen, and even our neighbor, Montreal, has poutine and smoked meat and these bagels that are so freaking good. Some people would say this is our thing, a delicious steaming peameal bacon sandwich. But is it really our signature dish? Okay, here are the pros. It's delicious. It historically relates to our past as a pork-producing city, and it's kind of unique to Toronto. Now the cons. It's not very famous. You can only get it here, and I've lived in Toronto for 10 years, and I've only had like one. This doesn't count. Let's rewind and talk a little bit about that diversity thing I brought up. I think that's our thing. Toronto is the most multicultural city on the planet, and I think that has something to do with the fact that we haven't found our favorite food yet. So with that in mind, I've come here to the Assembly Chefs Food Hall, where a bunch of chefs from different backgrounds have gotten together to share their food. And I'm hoping that by chatting with them, we'll get to the bottom of Toronto's food identity.
Well, culture is a big part of my cooking. I mean, I was brought up as a Canadian, so the style of cuisine that I do is a natural progression of like my heritage and my culture and my upbringing.
I believe I'm a little special case here as 100% Chinese, but then doing, I would say, authentic style sushi. I have to spend, I guess, a lot more effort in learning about the culture, learning about the ingredients.
We do old school, traditional wood-fired barbecue, no gas, no electric. We just cook on wood. A lot of the nuances that I use, that I have, are as a result of being in Toronto. I grew up in an Italian-Canadian household, making sausage, making tomato sauce, all that stuff. You know, I can do things that guys in very storied, historic places can't do.
I'm French trained, so I do a lot of kind of French techniques with a lot of Asian classical flavors and dishes. The Big Mac Bao is kind of something that is very iconic that I was telling you about, and it's become one of those things that is like our kind of like what we're really known for. It's basically everything inside of it is all natural. We make everything in-house. We make the processed cheese. Everything had to be exactly right? Because if you missed any flavor, it wouldn't work, and it'd be like, oh, it's a hamburger, right? But this specifically is a Big Mac, right? Everything in it screams Big Mac.
Oh my God, this is insane. Talk about flavor fusion and cultural fusion. We have a Big Mac Bao, we have Hakka Chinese dumplings, which are South African and Chinese, and we've got Korean short ribs marinated in this gorgeous Korean barbecue sauce, a little bit of apple pear on top, and some homemade kimchi. What did I just eat? That is legit a Big Mac in a bao. That is amazing. Today has been jam-packed full of flavor, and it's proof that there is no shortage of amazing food here in Toronto. I do feel like we're one step closer to finding our food identity. But is it the Big Mac Bao? Or the barbecue made by the Italian guy? Maybe it's the sushi from the Chinese chef. And I didn't even have the pizza. The Thai, the fried chicken, desserts, lobster? Maybe I'm more confused than when I started. I think it's time to ask the chefs what they think Toronto's signature dish is.
That is so difficult because
That's a really tough one. Toronto's signature dish, I mean, it was such a huge different clash of different cultures and different ethnicities. It's really hard to say.
a signature dish for Toronto? Wow. I mean, if we had to go to like the World Food Expo and be the Toronto dish, no idea what we'd bring. They'd have to be a mashup of Toronto.
It's hard to say, but I guess it's the multiculturalism in Toronto that makes what Toronto is, and we from now on, I think we got to show the world that how great Toronto is, and and how great of a cuisine that we have in Toronto.
You can't, I don't think you can put a label on what Toronto is because of how diverse we are.
All right, guys, it's the end of the day, and we failed. We failed at finding Toronto's signature dish, but you know what I realized? Toronto is a place where traditions flourish, but people don't feel trapped by them. Cultures are growing and innovating alongside each other, and flavors are constantly combining. And I now realize why Toronto doesn't have a signature dish. It's because it would be putting a square peg in a round hole. To sum up this city with one food item, well, it would defeat the purpose of Toronto altogether.